We kick off hour number 2 with a man who, if I'm not mistaken, is commemorating his 25th season in the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, and his 3rd as general manager. Not bad for a native New Orleanian, now making his living there in Western PA. The general manager of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Omar Khan, here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Omar?
Great. How are you? Actually, my first day at the Steelers was Valentine's Day 2001.
Ah, wow.
Hard to believe.
Well,
Yeah.
so I guess Cupid shot the arrow between you and the organization on that day, huh?
It must have been. Yeah, that's how I always remember when my first day was.
Who hired you? Who brought you in the organization, Omar?
It was Dan Rooney and Art Rooney were the primary people I met with, and then obviously Kevin Colbert, who I have a great relationship with to this day. And we just it's hard to believe it's been that long and it's gone by so fast, but some great memories and some great experiences, and met some awesome people.
Man, what is or was a job interview with Dan Rooney like, Omar?
Well, I was born and raised in New Orleans,
right.
And I grew up the biggest Saints fan ever. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I love the Saints, and I'm probably one of the few people that I'm sure a lot of people felt, and I never thought I'd ever leave New Orleans, to be honest with you. Just growing up, I love the Saints. I had the opportunity to work for the Saints. I loved it, but the Steelers called and had the opportunity to interview with the Rooney family, and
Right.
Growing up, I thought the Saints were the greatest. The 80, what was it, like the teams? When I was a kid,
the Dome Patrol. You were Dome Patrolling, right?
Correct, man.
Yeah.
I thought they were the greatest. And I used to talk about the like that Dome Patrol as being the greatest linebacker core ever. My dad would tell me about this guy named Jack Lambert and Jack Ham, and I would tell him about how we had a running back named Reuben Mays. I was growing up,
yeah.
he was like rookie of the year, and he had like 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons. And my dad would tell me about this guy named Franco Harris, and so I obviously knew a lot about the Steelers, had a lot of respect for this organization, and they called out of the blue and had the opportunity to interview, and I said absolutely. An opportunity to meet with the Marines, and I got to tell you, it's everything you hear about it. It is that way. The family's just great, and I've loved my time here, and Western PA is truly a great place to be, too.
No doubt. Omar Khan here on the Rich Eisen Show. All right, let's just jump into it. Obviously, it's an Aaron Rodgers world that pretty much everybody's paying rent in right now. Waiting for Rodgers. How are you able to remain so patient on that, Omar?
Somebody asked me about that the other day, and I could say, we don't really view our patience as a weakness. I view it as a strength. And we had some conversations, and we were engaged with him, and just felt really good about it, our chances. And we went through the evaluation process early, and felt like he was going to be the right guy for us if we could land the plane. And we were just willing to go. He did a great job of communicating with us. I don't know what the narrative was out there.
I could tell you what the narrative was out there, Omar Khan. And it was how could an organization, and even Cam Hayward on his podcast kind of, hinted at it, and I jabbed at him as well for it. Like, we're the Steelers. If you want to play, come play. And so when you're saying he was communicative, was he was reaching out to you? Were you kind of erasing some texts and go, nah, I should back off, or did you hit send? Like, was that part of the process? Seriously, Omar.
Just open dialogue, and we knew where he stood. He knew what was going on with him, and he knew where we were, and it just felt really comfortable with the process.
Okay, and so in that regard, then my condolences on your season being over, because Rodgers threw an interception in his first attempt in training camp, Omar. my apologies to everybody in the organization. But in all seriousness, what do you want to see over the next few weeks? Like, if you could map this out for this offense, Jonnu Smith you added as well, and DK Metcalf. What do you want to see as the general manager over the next 6 weeks before the opener in MetLife?
Yeah, that's a great question. The thing for me is I just want to see, we feel really good about the talent here. So just watching these guys evolve and come together, and that's the beauty of being here at St. Vincent College and going away for training camp. It's all football, and guys are getting to know each other, and it's just really the process of coming together as a team. And I've been a part of three teams that have been in the Super Bowl. We won two of them, and I've seen the impact of being here and the camaraderie that's formed and the cohesiveness. And I think if you speak to any Super Bowl champion, they'll tell you that how important the closest the closeness of the collective is in that locker room, and that's what we're here for, and that's what I'm looking forward to watch the progression here. We had our first practice yesterday, and lots more to come.
What are you willing to share of the collaboration between Arthur Smith and Aaron Rodgers? How that works from your granular spot, Omar?
Yeah, it's just obviously we know Arthur. We've been around him for a couple of years and known him through the years, and and they have a relationship, and we wouldn't have done it if we didn't think it was going to be a really good one, and it hasn't disappointed.
Okay, and so in terms of putting things together for this team, you bring in DK Metcalf, you pay him a significant amount of money. The thing that I'm wondering, and I hear from a lot of Steeler fans, is why did George Pickens have to go? Like, why would you trade him away after bringing him in, developing him, and obviously seeing a certain talent level? What you're willing to share on that front, Omar?
Yeah, Rich, I'll just say, as we went through the off season and the process, it just became evident that for both sides, a fresh start was probably the best thing. It just made sense for both of us.
And in a massive trade like the one you pulled off with Miami, involving so many talented players, doesn't just happen overnight. How long were you cultivating that caper, Omar Khan?
It was weeks. There were several moving parts. But with Miami, we have a great relationship with those guys, and it was weeks.
Okay, and the TJ Watt signing, Omar, getting it done, no doubt a relief for everybody involved. Yeah. What would you say about the contract you gave TJ Watt and what it means, Omar?
Without going into specifics of the numbers, I think it just reflects how we feel about him. It was important, and I talked about this at the Combine. It was important for me and for the organization to have TJ be a one helmet Hall of Famer. It would be a great thing, and hopefully there's many more years to go with TJ. But it was just important. His numbers speak for themselves, and I don't know how many of you guys have gotten to know him, but he's an even as great of a player as he is. He's an even better person.
Well, I love him. There's nothing to dislike about TJ Watt, right? In so many different ways. Plus, he seems to be the perfect avatar for a Steeler. You know what I mean? And also for somebody who can. I don't think Tomlin needs help selling, but you obviously you need big time players who have already bought in that locker room selling, and he seems to me that guy as well, along with Cam Hayward. If you just want to mention a couple of players on defense, Omar.
Yeah,
right.
We have we feel really good about our locker room, but obviously those guys that are been here for a few years, they have the biggest impact, and TJ's one of them, and obviously Cam too.
And Jalen Ramsey now coming to this team, and Jonnu Smith on top of it. We saw what you did in the draft as well. You hit that defensive line for sure. And starting off with Derek Harmon, you got Yaya Black of Iowa. You hit the defensive line again with Jack Sawyer on top of it. The guy that jumps out at me is Caleb Johnson. How much of a role do you envision him having with Jaylen Warren? Obviously, Najee Harris now is down the street from this studio in Southern California. How much of a role do you see the Iowa rookie running back having for this team?
Yeah, I think the next couple of weeks here in Latrobe will dictate that. But there's definitely an opportunity, and he's been great. He's been great since we got him here. He's learning. He's working hard. He's in great shape. So the opportunity's there, and that's what training camp's for. I think we have 3 more weeks here in Latrobe, maybe 3.5, and we'll see how it all shakes out.
And your plan for Will Howard, the quarterback that you did take in this draft, Omar Khan, is what? What's your vision here for him?
Well, we were excited. We were obviously excited to get Will. He'll tell you, we spent every opportunity we had to talk to him and get to know him. We did, in Indianapolis, the pro day. And we just like what we see and think there's a bright future there. And he has a great opportunity to learn from one of the best quarterbacks ever while he's here. And I know he's doing that. He's asking a lot of questions and he's observing. He's opportunity to learn from Mason Rudolph, who's been great. He spent several years here with us, and he's back. So he has an opportunity to learn and grow. And obviously, some things have to come together, but I think the future is bright for him.
And obviously, this is a question that's difficult for you to answer. So my apologies for asking it straight up front. Omar Khan is, Rodgers said he pretty much thinks this is a 1-year deal, right? Like this is 1 year for him last year in the pros. Do you envision any scenario in which this could be a longer stay in Pittsburgh if he's so inclined, Omar?
I mean, sure. Obviously, we have to see how the season goes, but
Sure.
I absolutely, he's a young 41, and we're obviously taking it year by year, and that's where we're at. But we're not obviously not closing the door on anything.
And a couple other questions for you. Clearly, again, defensive tackle, that middle of that defensive line was something that you wanted to approach in the draft. There is now a player of note in Christian Wilkins that has been released by the Las Vegas Raiders. I know there's a lot going on with him as to surrounding the details of his release and his health, but is that a tire you're potentially going to kick in Pittsburgh, Omar?
I don't really know what's going on there. I know it's pretty fresh, but we feel good about the group that we got, Rich. We really do. We added YA and Derek, and we still got Cam, who's just awesome, and so we're pretty focused on the group we got.
Okay, and then my last couple questions for you, Omar Khan, involve a lot of things that I hear from Steeler fans, and I'm wondering how it rests with you as the general manager. I have been roasted on occasion on radio stations there and other places in Western PA for having a particular affection for your head coach and Mike Tomlin and his abilities. And there's a lot of folks in Pittsburgh that are a little bit maybe fatigued as to the results over the last few years under his management. What do you think of when you hear that sort of conversation about Mike Tomlin, Omar?
Yeah, I can tell you, Mike and I communicate every day, and like I've said this before, I've never met anybody that's got a greater passion for the game of football than he does. And he's just, we have a lot of fun together, and we both share the same goal and vision, and that's to be Super Bowl champions here, and we're working toward it. And excited. We both love it. Don't have a lot of hobbies, and
Pardon me, you don't have a lot of hobbies. What do you mean by that, Omar?
Family and football. That's what we do. We work hard day in and day out to try to bring us another Super Bowl championship to Pittsburgh.
So you pay it no mind, the conversation surrounding his tenure and in Pittsburgh, Omar?
Yeah, I don't really listen to any of the noise like that. I'm focused on we're focused on winning a championship.
Okay, and then lastly, the quarterback room the last couple years with Russell Wilson and now obviously Aaron Rodgers, and signing a wide receiver after trading for him and paying him all the money that you did, the trades for Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, and these particular roster maneuvers, and waiting for Rodgers as long as you have. The conversation surrounding that is these are un-Steeler-like maneuvers, right? This is not the sort of way that the Steelers normally run their business. How do you respond to that as well, Omar?
It's a good question. I mean, we're just, I'm just doing my part and trying to do whatever I can to bring a championship to Pittsburgh. I think the dynamics of maybe how teams are built is maybe changing a little bit, and we've adjusted, and but every one of those moves is unique in their own way, and we looked at them, they made sense, but we're just trying to win a championship.
I hear you. Hey, have a great season. The whole country's going to be watching, not only because just Steeler fans are everywhere, and the interest in this franchise is so robust. Nationally, internationally, you're going to Ireland, which I'm sure is going to be huge for the Rooney family, because Dan Rooney was the ambassador there for a few years. for this country. The whole country's going to be watching, man. From the very beginning with Rodgers showing up, he's taking on Green Bay. My goodness, DK Metcalf seeing his old team right off the bat. Rodgers is seeing his old team right off the bat. I mean, it's going to be on, and I wish you the best of luck with this schedule, sir.
Thanks for having me on. I can tell you, we're all looking forward to this game in Ireland.
I bet.
I had the opportunity to visit the ambassador a couple times when he was over there as ambassador, and it is an awesome place. Like it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I honestly can't even fathom. I've been fortunate to call a lot of these international games, Omar, London, Germany.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Ireland assignment is not mine, but my gosh, I can't even imagine what the scene is going to be like there with the Steelers and Vikings having at it.
Come on, you have an open invitation.
No, Omar, I could tell you what my schedule is right now. I would be there if I could. I will be a fort holder on that day for the National Football League Network you might have heard of. But I can't wait to see it. That's going to be unreal. Just an unreal environment. So soak that in.
It's can't wait.
Okay. Best to everybody there. Say hi to Coach Tomlin for me. I appreciate it.
Do.
All right, man.
Thanks
for the time, Omar.
I
appreciate it. Thank you, sir. That's Omar Khan, the Steelers general manager, right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.